Picture this. It's the start of a new week and you're new on the job. It's your first day at a new sales gig. It's a job that you've wanted to get for a long, long time. And you've managed to snag this important role. How are you going to deliver revenue impact in the next 90 days or under to demonstrate value? All the ties, all the influence that you had from the old role in the old company has now been severed. What are you going to do to demonstrate revenue impact quickly with velocity and meaning? This is what the first domino is all about. And you can apply that to many contexts. You can apply that to a new role, a new product or service that you're rolling out. Do you want to be first in your company to sell that product, to make a difference, to get the credibility and respect from doing something like that? What would that mean for your trajectory? What would that mean for your value? What would that mean for the company? The ability to get that first client, that first flagship client, the major client, in terms of testimonials, case studies, proof points, value adds, tests, so they can iterate that product and improve it, find out if there are any bugs and work them out, get value and trust across to this client, get them to become an advocate, get them to speak at conferences on their behalf, on podcasts, on panels, in trade press. So think about the wave, the chain reaction that would be set off if that was the case. The other dimension is if you're the founder or the CEO of a new business, you need to land that first flagship client to make headway. That's what everyone's looking for. Maybe you need to land that first client to get your next round of funding. It's vital that what you do to slow down time, because every day matters when you're burning through cash at a rate of knots, and yet you still haven't landed that client, that one that's going to tip all of the others in your favor. And that client is the first domino. Once you tip the first domino, a whole new world opens up and you'll start landing other dominoes in quick succession. That's what I'm going to talk you through today. How to do that, why this is important in terms of a concept, a philosophy, and a playbook for sales and psychology to help you elevate your business, expand it, get growth and drive, most importantly, revenue impact. Because I think there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of advisors, consultants, and there's a lot of people that are misinformed around what matters. It's not the number of meetings that you're doing. It's not the number of emails that you're sending. It's not the promises you make. It's actual action and delivery of revenue that matters. When you deliver revenue through landing the first domino, i.e. that first major client when you're in a new role, that first major client to test your new product or service, that first major client for your startup, your business, the trajectory, it only takes one, but the trajectory is changed forever. And that can be you. And we're going to dive in and discuss how to do that. So welcome. Let's get started. So to introduce, the main point here is that success doesn't happen in one giant leap. It happens by tipping the first domino and taking action, right? So it's that small change that creates this huge ripple effect. My point here is you don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to start. What was Isaac Newton's first law? Well, it was the law of motion. An object in motion stays in motion, and we want to be in motion as business development professionals, as go-to-market advocates, as salespeople, as founders, as CEOs. We want to be in motion. That's the state we need to be in. So that's what I want to level set. This isn't about one giant leap. It's about a small change that creates a huge chain reaction. So first thing to do is plant more seeds. This is your cold email strategy, but it's also your follow-up strategy. Often I find when I'm talking to salespeople, they're not generating enough action around the follow-up part of their email marketing strategy. My number one tip is to keep your emails simple, intriguing, generate curiosity, and focus on the main point, which is to get that first meeting. The best times I've found to send that impactful email are between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. Tuesday to Thursday. That's the window. But what I would recommend is following my strategy of 9 before 9 a.m. This way you can't fail. It's the ability to take 9 key actions on 9 qualified prospects before 9 a.m. So you sent out 9 highly tailored and personalized emails that cut through the noise, and they're sitting there in the inbox at 9 a.m. every single day with a prospect that you'd like to meet. And it can't just be emails. You could be meeting for coffee. You could be having a video call with someone. You could be asking someone for a referral. It's 9 high impact, revenue generating actions that you can take to move the needle daily. And then you follow up every 3 days on those emails. And you can see how that compounds. 9 times 5 days equals 45. If you're following up every 3 days as well, you've got that on top. You start to pick up the slack. You can start to build this absolutely gigantic, well-qualified pipeline that starts to feed into your diary these meetings that you want to have. Each one of these is a flagship client. Don't waste your time on anyone that's not going to convert and isn't relevant for your business. You want to be ultra focused right now. Your time is a currency and you want to spend it on exactly the right dominoes. So do that. Cut out the fluff, disqualify any meeting or any person that isn't willing to get in the room, sit down and discuss what you have, and to go through with that need, that timing, that budget, and the authority to make a decision. So that's the first stage. We've got to reduce that friction. Keep your email simple and focus on the request, which is to get that meeting. More than this, by being in motion, you'll stop yourself from getting distracted. That's a big commitment. What I'm asking you to do is a 9 before 9 a.m. strategy. That's before the work starts. That's just as a principle to raise your standards. I write about this in my book, The Momentum Sales Model. You can't see it right now, but that's an award-winning book for that very reason. These are proven strategies that I've used over the last 15 years to generate companies millions of dollars, to land that first client, to go from 0 to 1, and to get those big name multinational corporations in the door, to get you a seat at the table. So don't overcomplicate this. You need to have a personal hook, a clear ask, and an outcome that matters to that client. And make sure that you stay human. This is not about hacking the system and becoming a robot. This is not about templatized responses. This is about light, consistent follow-up that is human, that is authentic to you. The next thing is, because the pressure's on, right, I want you to stay in a state of abundance here. I want you to be an abundant being, especially in this first 90 days where you're going after it and you think that you've got all these meetings to have, all these new staff members to meet, all these personal relationships to build. Yes, you do. And that's the task at hand. To do that whilst consistently delivering on revenue impact and how you can demonstrate value. And so that's the ball game we've got. We've got to juggle that. That's what this playbook is for, the first domino. That's the playbook, is to keep this stuff in line so that you can literally execute while you're having all of those random coffees and those relationship building, networking activities internally to build your influence. And so I want you to imagine, what is the best possible outcome that you could achieve, the boldest, grandest vision, because I need you to stay high vibe. I need you to stay on mission. I want you going after things that people think are impossible, throwing it out there, because if you do that, you're going to stretch that identity of how people see you, but landing just one of those high risk strategies is going to pay off. So I want you, because it's going to pay off in a big way, right? This is a 10x, 100x strategy. It's a bold idea that you can be working on each week. And this forms one of your big rocks. It's something that if it happened, if you landed that client or that conference or that speaking gig or whatever it is in your business that can take your brand, your image to the next level within the company or for your business, you want to be trying this. This is not the time to be shying away from those strategies just because you started a new job, just because you got a new product, or just because this is your business and you've raised a friends and family round and now the rubber meets the road. This is the time to go all in, to create that abundant mentality and stretch your identity. Do impossible things. And feeding into that is trusting your intuition. You need to be heightened in terms of your awareness around your intuition. Your intuition is going to be giving you signals. It's going to be telling you things. It's going to be guiding the process. It's going to be bringing into your brain new ideas. You're going to make those ideas conscious and you're going to double down on them. Again, not the time to not trust your intuition. In fact, this is the time to demonstrate that your intuition has been finely tuned for this exact moment. I want you planning for your legacy. I want you taking risks here, getting an epic life so that when you look back on it, these are the stories that you tell your grandkids. The things that you did to create revenue impact in 90 days or under, to set your career on a trajectory that's going to the moon. This is what we're all about. You want to be asking yourself all the time, if this works, how big could it be? Another great question is, how could we make this amazing? If you apply that questioning style to everything that you're doing, maybe you've been asked to jump in. It's week 2. You've been asked to jump in and host an event about products you don't even know yet in front of a big audience of stakeholders. So the question you want to ask is, how could we make this awesome? Not, I'm clouding my vision with fear and doubt and, oh my goodness, I don't know the products. You've got that. You will find the internal stakeholders to give you the bullet points, to give you the confidence to go out and deliver. The question you need to be asking is, how can we make this awesome? How can we make this the most effective and efficient way of delivering impact? What can we do in the room with this to create this a moment in time, to bring people closer, to adopt our mindset and to go forward and to understand that we built value and brand reputation into that moment. People will be talking about that for years to come. That's the kind of big level thinking you need to be on. And to do that, we also need to replace our language. A lot of the time, when we're apprehensive and we're nervous, we start to say things like, oh, I'll try, or I hope this client comes in, or I hope they get back to me. I'll try to get in contact with them. No, no, no. We've got to replace that language completely. There's no hope. There's no trying. We need commitment-focused language. I will. I have. It's done. This is living already as the goal achieved. This is you attracting, not chasing. Remember, thoughts are things. You've got to guard your mental diet. We don't want to be trying to create something big, yet we're eating junk food in the form of thoughts. And remember, back to questioning. When you're in the room with those clients, defensiveness kills trust. So if you get an objection and you're defensive about it because you're wedded to this product, or you have so much pressure on right now, you need to land this client, you need to make sure that they come on board. When you're defensive, and this can happen a lot to startup founders, or even just anyone that's super passionate about the business they're in, we can get really defensive. We might not mean to, but our tone change, our body language shifts, because this person in front of us isn't understanding. And actually, they're objecting to something that we know to be fact. Well, I need to stop you there, because defensiveness kills trust. Curiosity builds trust. And so if you get to that point, the only thing you should be doing is asking the right question. The right question is, can I ask, what made you think that? Or what makes you think that? And it's a curiosity that you've brought into your tone. Do not change your body language. Do not change your face. All of these micro adjustments will have an effect. So make sure and practice this. Practice this with your partner at home. Get the objections that you're most likely to be asked and practice asking, can I ask, what makes you think that? And so that's where you're curious. You're going to find out such rich information that can help the organization. You can create the company's first objection handling sheet. You can add value to that. Like, hey, I've gone out, I've had 50 meetings in the last 3 weeks. And in those meetings, these are consistent questions that was asked every single time. And I asked this one question, and out of that, I elicited this information. And every single time, this part of our product or this part of our pricing was mentioned. You can spot the trends. You can deliver that back internally to different stakeholders. That is value adding. You can make changes very quickly then within that 90-day window. That's week 3, right? They make the change week 4 and you roll again. and you iterate, and then you move again, and you start to see how you've added value already to the organization and the other salespeople in your team. And from there, you become a magnet. You've not only got respect, but you've got closer to landing those big dominoes. And why is that? Well, it's because you're leading with curiosity, building trust, so those conversations aren't over. If we are leading with defensiveness, those conversations are going to be really hard to pick up again, no matter if you've actually solved the objection or no matter if you have the right information for them. Because I kid you not, how you show up is everything. This is an internal game. And something I'm really passionate about is storytelling. Storytelling both internally and externally. This is how you bring people in. And so the thing is with storytelling, you don't have to be the hero. You can make your clients the hero. If you've ever read The Hero's Journey, you'll see that a story has an arc, right? They go out, they have an enemy, someone to fight, and then they go on this epic journey. Now, what that is doing is keeping suspense in the story. When you do that, it's actually going to raise the neurotransmitter dopamine in the other person's body. And that's really key, because when we raise our dopamine, we increase our attention, focus, and creativity. That's one thing. There's a neurochemical cocktail going on in the best storytellers. So raise the suspense. Take them on a journey. Slow down. Give them the richness, the detail. The next one is oxytocin. So this is also known as the love hormone. The way to get oxytocin risen in your audience is to build that empathy. And so again, you change your tone, you tell a story where you're being vulnerable. You're sharing something deeply impactful, something from the heart, okay? Because a lot of storytellers, they miss the point, especially salespeople that go out there and they're just reciting facts. It's too clinical, it's too cold, they miss the heart. Oxytocin is a big part of trust building. It's bonding. It's bringing people in to connect, which is what we want. We want them to connect. And so endorphins is the final one. This is a peptide neurotransmitter, endorphins. How do we create endorphins? Well, endorphins, the easiest way is to make people laugh. It's humor. So injecting a bit of humor into your story, and i.e., I'm just so we're clear, story means sales pitch. Story means information you wish to convey. Story means you being authentic and not being afraid to have a joke, to make them laugh, to raise their endorphins up. And when you get these different neurochemical transmitters going on in this really potent cocktail, they're hooked, they're listening. Their attention is not daydreaming. They're not bored. Their attention is on you, not even your PowerPoint, which is a whole other conversation about how you should design PowerPoint to make you the center of the conversation. You are the story, not PowerPoint. So make people laugh, make a joke, be real, use humor as a way to make a point, right? Wow, yeah, we have got a lot of technology. We've got a lot of solutions. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit of it's like Minecraft. Every single moment we're building something new. We are literally going to new lands, building something new. So I want to guide you through, there are a couple of things, but first to do that, I want to ask a couple of questions. It's going to help us just streamline where we should focus our time, because I know it's really valuable for you. Right. Just the jokes, make sure they're funny. I'm not sure that was even funny. Make sure the jokes are funny, right? But get them laughing. This is going to bring them into your world. And that's going to create bonding. And what are we doing any of this for? Well, it's to build trust. Because from trust, we can start to actually build value and create together. This is about collaboration and commitment and connection. The 3 C's. And so I'll leave you with that, because I want you to win. I want you to win. I want you to nail this next 90 days, whatever it is you're facing. New role, new product, new service, new gig, founder, want to raise some money, want to land that first domino. This is the playbook. This book that you see me behind me, this is the playbook. It's here. It's a playbook. This is a hardcover, and I love it because you can read this in a weekend and implement on Monday. And it's there for you. I've written it for you to do that, to do just that. So if you're in a startup accelerator, if you're in that world of startups, if you're a founder of a big business, get this book to your sales team. Ask them to read it over a weekend and then implement on Monday. That's what companies are doing. They're getting this book to their sales team, read it over the weekend, listen to it on Audible, implement on Monday. And you can build the magic framework. So you can't see it, but there's a framework to this book. It's called the Magic Framework. So this book is about magic. It's an acronym, and each one of those stands for a step that you can take to elevate your business, to add more value, and land that first domino in 90 days or under. So with that, I'd like to thank you. You can find me at timjscastle.com or follow me on Instagram or social at timjscastle. And if you'd like to get some free templates and sheets that you can use with all the good stuff in, it's www.thefirstdominobook.com. It's all there, it's all free. I want to drive value for you. I want to build that relationship with you. So hopefully we've done that today, and I wish you well, my friends. It only takes one. Let's start a chain reaction of success today. Your success.